Hi guys, in this week's video I decided to focus on a topic that is often overlooked, and that is the flavor of the mage zones in Magic. That's right, apart from the obvious game purpose, those zones are also tied to the whole flavor of the game, at least since its original inception. You see, back in my day, before those 5 came in, before the Gatewatch, it was us, the players, who were actually planeswalkers in-game, and boy did we have power.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Most major zones also have their own flavor to better represent the duel between the two planeswalkers that a 1v1 game of Magic is supposed to be. Let's start with the obvious. The battlefield is the physical space where this duel takes place. While the term exile is relatively new, the zone has always existed mostly as oblivion, where things go to be forgotten forever, like we see Past in Flames, cease to exist, as seen in Unmake, or simply became unavailable, as best represented in the mystical archive art of Swords to Plowshares, in which a soldier's sword is transformed into a plow, and he becomes a farmer, never to raise the weapon again. The next 3 zones are closely related to the player's cognitive capabilities, or to put it simply, the mind. First off, let's start with the hand. Overall, the player's hand represents the present state of the player's mind, or in other words, his current thoughts, which we can see represented in cards like Thought Seize, Thought Erasure, and Idle Thoughts, which, as you can see, is an enchantment that we can only use if our mind, hand, is empty. The graveyard, on the other hand, is both a literal place for dead things, as we can see it Buried Alive, Unmarked Grave, and Animate Dead, and a mental place for the player's past memories. Evidence of this we can find in cards like Past in Flames, which allows you to recollect flashbacks of your past one last time before they disappear forever, Memory Plunder, which lets you relive for free one of your opponent's memories, or Fade from Memory, which can make a player permanently forget something from their past. Finally comes the Library, which can also represent memory, but memory in the sense of the planeswalker's entire knowledge and spells, his entire mind if you will. This is represented in cards like Selective Memory, which lets you search your library for any number of spells that you know but haven't casted yet, and simply forget about them. In mill effects that usually target your opponent's library, such as Mind Funeral, Mind Grind, or even cards like Aven Mind Sensor, which severely disrupts the ability of your opponents to search their deck. Additionally, cards like Future Sight and Ignite the Future, which are related to playing cards from the top of the library, bring in another aspect of the library as the future things that will come to the mind of the player. Come to think of it, this ties rather nicely with the other 2 zones related to the mind, to form a triad of sorts, the graveyard to represent the past, the hand to illustrate the present, and lastly the library as the future. After some digging, I also managed to find a few cards that further point these flavor ties between the zones. Let us look at Go Blank, a card that makes your opponent discard 2 cards and then exile their graveyard. In other words, the card clears both your opponent's current thoughts and their past memories, which is exactly what happens if you go blank during an exam and you both can't think of anything and can't remember what you were reading last night. Believe it or not, James the Mind Sculptor is also a surprisingly flavorful card, as he can look into your opponent's mind and reshape it on a plus, sculpt your mind by stacking your deck with his 0 ability, return a summoned creature to your opponent's hand or present thoughts, and last but not least, sculpt their entire mind by exiling their memories and emptying their mind, leaving them with barely anything with his ultimate. Magic the Gathering technically has 3 other zones, but they are rather lacking in flavor. Those are the Stack, which has in my opinion entirely mechanical functions, the Command Zone, which is where your commander likes to hang out in an EDH game, and the Anti-Zone, which is the stuff of nightmares. Well, that wraps up all the zones in Magic. I hope that you found my explanation/interpretation of their flavor useful, and if you did, let me know by dropping a like and a comment. I'll see you next time. Cheers!